All right, good afternoon. So I'm seeing Antoinette, and there's Claude, Jadine, Marcia, Marie, Marilyn, Marsha, S. Grant, Galaxy S7, welcome. All right, we will begin in a few minutes. It's wonderful to have you. I see that little face on Marilyn's tab. Hello, little miss. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. I hope you're well. All right. So wonderful. All right. So Mrs. Myers, are we good to go?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
All right. So we are going to get started. All right. Because we have a lot to get into and to discuss today. All right, so welcome to this workshop, which is the 8th of the series of workshops that we have been offering at the Microcare Center. And certainly these workshops are designed to help parents and teachers navigate the challenges that exist as a result of the COVID pandemic, and certainly to prepare you and all of us to be able to meet our respective obligations or fulfill our tasks and our responsibilities well, even after COVID. All right, now you will hear some things that are certainly familiar to you, and then you will hear things that are also new. What we want you to do though is to do your best to soak in as much as you can. If you have questions, certainly feel free to ask. The chat feature is available. So if you want to type your responses in the chat, we invite you to do so. All right, but we are going to definitely get started now. And again, welcome, and we are happy and excited to have you. All right, so we'll be looking at today at curriculum support at home. And as a part of this workshop, what we hope to be able to accomplish today is to help you as parents to consider 3 skill areas that are promoted by the curriculum of Jamaican schools. So we will look at those today, and also to explore the part that parents and guardians will play in helping their children to keep abreast of the curriculum requirements. All right, are you seeing the screen clearly, Mrs. Myers?
Yes, Mrs. Johnson Grant, I can hear you. Samsung, that the person you recognize as Samsung was saying that he's not hearing.
And can you see the screen clearly? Is there anything blocking your view?
I can see clearly, but he's saying that he's not hearing. The one that you recognize as Samsung, the participant recognized as Samsung.
Oh, he's not hearing. I am not sure what is happening, but I can certainly look in the participant box to see what is happening. Probably needs to connect with device audio. So tell him to connect his audio. Marilyn, can you hear me? Oh, unmute your microphone, Marilyn. Or Q5 Pro, can you hear me?
Okay, Marilyn can hear.
All right, wonderful. So just ask him, just type in the chat, Mrs. Myers, and ask him to connect to audio. All right, well today, I'm Mrs. Johnson Grant, and I will be one of your presenters today, and I will be joined by the very able Mrs. Caroline Myers, one of my colleagues at the Microcare Center, and both of us serve in the capacity of a special educator. I'm now going to turn the time over to Mrs. Myers, and we are going to get started. But certainly, just reminding you, so today we're going to consider 3 skill areas promoted by the curriculum of Jamaican schools, and we are going to explore the part that parents and guardians can play in helping their children to keep abreast of the curriculum requirements and to succeed in the curriculum altogether.
All right, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have you. So since we're looking at curriculum support, and we're having our discussion surrounding that, we just want to just look a little bit, get a little synopsis of curriculum. So when we speak of curriculum here, we are referring to what a school is seeking to teach, whether written or unwritten. For those of us who are familiar with education in any way, you know that the curriculum can be a document, a book like what the teachers are used to, getting information from as a guide to direct them as to what to teach the students. Then you have the unwritten, which is or hidden, which is where students learn what you're not trying to teach them. Some of the things they learn are good, some are not so good, and you prefer if they don't learn it. But you do have the written curriculum which the teachers use, and anything that the child can perceive, hear through the senses, feel, whatever it is, anything that they can perceive actually becomes a part of their learning, which is why we have to be careful around them as well. So we're looking at all of this, whether written or unwritten, for any curriculum of our schools here in Jamaica. We focus on getting students to learn social behaviors, good values and attitudes, that is, good academic content, which includes numeracy and literacy, which we will be exploring here today. And also we try to get them to think, not just to pass on information that was given to them, but to get them to really think so they can be productive. We call that critical thinking. And some of you might be aware of it already, but we'll be discussing along those lines, among other things. So we're moving on. So curriculum, when we talk about curriculum support, we're talking about supporting our child as he or she benefits from the curriculum. And we look at curriculum support from a number of aspects or a number of approaches. We're looking at the disciplinary support, because that is necessary. It's normally given at school by a teacher and other persons on staff at school where your child would attend face-to-face classes. But now we have to look at how parents can help with the disciplinary support. We're also looking at technological support, collaborative support, psychological and academic. And academic is a main one for us, really. Though we need everything else. When we talk about curriculum, we tend to worry a lot as parents about the academics, because we want to know where's the child headed from here? What is he learning? What is he going to learn? And how am I going to see this through with this online thing that's going on? So we're delving into it. Let's go. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so disciplinary support. To support the curriculum and support your child in terms of discipline, we're looking at routines, boundaries, and rewards. The children have to get into a routine the way they are used to doing for school. They would normally get up in the morning, get ready for school. They probably have breakfast before, after they put on the uniform, and they're out of there for the day. And at school, they have a timetable that teacher helps to manage to ensure that they get what they're supposed to get. Now that school has moved into your house, now we still have to consider how are these routines going to be enacted, are going to be practiced within our space. So we need to support the school's timetables. It means that whatever subject is to be taught at whatever time, you need to be aware of it. So whether you're going to talk to teacher about it or teacher is going to send it to you or talk with you about it, there needs to be that timetable that they're used to at school needs to be available somewhere in their space at home. All right. The children need to be ready for the sessions, for the class sessions. So Johnny should not be in bed when teacher is marking register, or class is going on and he's somewhere else doing something else. All right. So we also have to keep routines regarding homework. Normally, school is at school and homework comes home to home. Now we're looking at school at home and homework still being given at home. So it has to be scheduled. More things are there now to be fit into your day with your child, or whoever your designate is that you might ask to monitor and manage your child for you, because you might not be available because of work and so on. Okay, but the homework needs to be scheduled. as a part of the routine. Playtime also needs to be scheduled. They'll get really stressed out if they don't have playtime, and they need to get their playtime. Snack time as well. So when the time when they're supposed to be in class won't be the time that they're running off to go get something from the fridge and to go find out if they can eat that sandwich that they didn't want this morning, and so on and so forth. So we have to be mindful of that. Bathroom breaks as well should be scheduled. At school, they are scheduled as well. You know, unless the child has bathroom issues, you know how that goes. It should be scheduled in such a way that before class, bathroom is used. At given breaks, bathroom is used. But you want at this time for your child to really be able to get the most out of the session that is being offered at home while in the classroom, so to speak, online. Okay, we have to set boundaries as parents. So our children need to know that when it's class time, it is class time. And we try to reduce the distractions. So they should not be watching TV. We shouldn't during class time, or playing on their some game thing or some with some toy during class time. You're setting the boundaries. Okay, this is class time. Therefore, all of us within the household, whether siblings, parents, whoever else is in the household, should also be conscious that this is little Johnny's class time. And we're trying to reduce the distraction so that he or she can get the most out of it, or children can get the most out of the time. And finally, rewards. For discipline, there ought to be rewards, okay? So when the boundaries are kept, when they follow the routines, when they're doing their assignments, when you find that even sometimes you don't even have to ask them if they've done the homework, they are on it, they're on target, rewards, praise, and encouragement is what we input at this time. They need it because they're used to getting it at school as well, all right? So though we have those situations where they might not be sticking to it, and we talk to them about it, when they are doing it right, we need to acknowledge it and be prepared to reward them. Collaborative and technological support. I think this part, especially the technological part, is what our parents, as parents, we're prepared for, okay? We're trying to prepare for, ensuring that the child has a device available to him or her, whether it's computer, laptop, tablet, whatever it is, that we have internet access as best as is possible, that we are in touch with the school to know what platform they're using so that we have it downloaded on our system and so on. And collaboratively, when we talk about collaboration, it's just about working together. So you notice that daddy in the picture is there supporting his child, supporting what is going on regarding the curriculum. The child is doing homework, the child is doing whatever needs to be done, and the child is being supported. Collaboration also means that we need to be talking with the teachers. We don't have to bear it by ourselves. We talk with them, we share with them what's happening with us and what are some of the difficulties, what's going right, what's going wrong, and get some help, all right? So we collaborate and we have the technological support. Academic support. When we think of academic support at this stage, we're thinking about the space. We know that school has come to home, but we want to ensure that just as though if our children were leaving to go out to school, they would know that there's a designated place for school. No matter what kind of home we have, big, small, and in between, we want to ensure that we have even a little corner where our children know that this is the school space, this is the classroom space, and that space needs to be stimulating, all right? In being stimulating, we're talking about having in that space what is necessary to have the child thinking, as like when he's at school, have him have help aids, whether charts and so on within that space, all right? So that just as how we could look at a chart at school or have a certain activity at school, as best as we can, we try to prepare that space to look like a classroom space for him or her. So now we look at literacy support. So under academics, we're looking at literacy support. Now, most of us are used to the term, if you've had children in the primary system and early childhood system, whichever a part of the system, we have heard about literacy and numeracy. Now, so for literacy, when we talk about literacy here, we're speaking about reading, comprehension, and writing. All right. There are many other sub-skills that teachers teach children, but that's what we're looking at. All right. Within that literacy space as well, we're looking at sources of information. What should we have in that space to stimulate the students to improve or to continue to grow in literacy? So we're looking at books, textbooks, resource books, charts. And while you cannot have a full classroom of charts and so on, that's not necessary. You just need enough there that the child needs. So again, you collaborate with the teacher to find out what it is that you can put in that space that will be needed to assist your child as much as you're able. All right, videos, online videos. So the internet that we have available to us is also a resource for literacy in terms of whatever the children need to learn in language arts and literacy. Hands-on materials should be there as well. Letter cards, word cards, games. And no matter what age your child is, they can use these things based on the information that they're supposed to be learning, the vocabulary they're supposed to be developing, wherever they are, whether early childhood or later on. These things are very useful to have. We can even have them in a shoebox. All right, so a shoebox with some letters, that the child needs to learn, sounds that they can connect with sounds, word cards that they need to, with words that they need to learn, or vocabulary words that come from the science, from the social studies, whatever they're doing. All right, so they can utilize them in game activities. All right. For hands-on activities, you're looking more at what will allow them to think and complete activities. So you're looking at puzzles, kind of word puzzles, if you have any of those that can be in that space. Games such as Scrabble, Snakes and Ladders, whatever it is that you can utilize within that space. Worksheets and workbooks should also be in that literacy space. All right, we're moving on. Remember, if you have any questions about what I'm sharing, what we'll be sharing, you can always put it in the chat and we can look at them and see how well we can address them. Okay, so we're moving on from the literacy space. Okay, now in that space, we also want to have provided for the students experiences. So whether it's in the space or at home, inside or outside, we want to provide experiences that will help to support their literacy development and improvement and growth. All right? So some real life experiences, especially when you think about it, the younger children, like in the early childhood, in basic schools or preschool, taking them outside in the backyard is a good real life experience. If you have a backyard there with plants, flowers, little animals that they can see and be able to talk about. Okay, where you don't have that space to take them walking and so on, vicarious experiences can be provided by using the internet to take them places, all right, to see what other backyards look like, to see, you know, what other places are like. So visit, virtual visits to different places can help your child. Have pictures as well available because they are good for discussions, and of course the videos. Ensure that for this enrichment, the enrichment activities for literacy, can we, okay, we need to mute somebody there. But for the enrichment activities, we also want to ensure that we are allowing the children to talk, to explain what they're experiencing. They need to have the room to really talk about it, whether it's a picture or the walk that they took outside or something they watch online. Allow them to draw, to speak.
You know, say me supposed to get my one.
Any of those.
Excuse me, Miss Myers, you're on mute.
Please unmute yourself, my dear.
I've been muted all this time?
No, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay, well, thank you for that. All right, so we want to be able to be helping them to extend their learning by asking them questions. Some children will just talk about their experience. They get excited and they'll talk. Others won't be so talkative. So you draw out what is within them by asking them questions. So what do you think about this? You know, how do you feel about this? What do you like about this experience? What don't you like about it? What do you want to be changed? What alternatives, what other things or experiences would you like to have? So you ask the questions to get them to really express themselves, all right, and to extend their learning in that way. All right, so that's for enrichment. Now we're moving on to the next slide, which should have a picture. Now, any child at any age and in any grade can actually benefit in terms of literacy from a picture. All right, from a picture like this, you are able to The child is able to identify objects and people, colors. So for the early ones, those in the early childhood institutions who need to learn colors and shapes and all those things, you can pick up things that look round, things that have a certain color, you know, things that are up high, things that are down low, and speak to the concepts from a picture like this. All right. You can have letters coming out of this. So the child identifies the different persons. So there is a boy. What sound do you hear at the beginning of boy? And the child can say book. All right. Or you can say it's book, book, as in boy. So the child is learning the letter sounds. As you move up, you're talking about writing down words. Okay. So Peter Gay is able to tell you what's in the picture. Can she write the words? Can she read the words? Okay, she doesn't know the words. This is where you have assistance now in terms of content. Put on the word cards that you'll make with them to put in that shoebox that will be in that classroom corner. All right, and if they will be pulled out to play games, the I Spy games, and all those things. All right, and concentration games. From this as well, students can learn to write. They can tell a story. They can write sentences. They can speak. So, and that is a part of developing literacy. If you have any ideas about that, you can always put it in the chat, but we're moving on. All right. So this is why we put pictures within the space to stimulate their thinking and conversation. Now we're looking at critical thinking. And some of us might be very aware of critical thinking because it has been the big thing since the new national curriculum, national standards curriculum. And everybody's talking about critical thinking. By now, some of us have learned well what they're talking about. But we want to look at some practical examples. Before we get there though, critical thinking, how we see critical thinking, it's a situation or a way of thinking that allows students to express their understanding, or people in general, to express their understanding of a situation and to address the situation based on facts and information within that it presents themselves within that situation or scenario. All right, it allows them to sort information and organize facts and shift things around and become creative in using what they see as information in front of them. And it also allows them to develop effective solutions. Critical thinking runs across subject areas. Mathematics is filled with it, science is filled with it. Language arts and social studies filled with it, depending on the task that they get to do and the kind of questions that they're asked. Now, a part of critical thinking is decision making. All right. So if you're able to make good decisions, you're thinking critically. Now, here is a brain teaser, which is one of those things that we use to help to develop critical thinking. Now, I'd like for you to, as soon as you're able to come up with an answer for the question, to put your answer in the chat so we see what some of us, what we might be thinking of the answer. So here's a picture, okay? We have the rooster, egg, house top, and some arrows going on there. Here's a scenario. A rooster stood on a roof facing east and laid an egg. The wind was blowing from the west at 10 miles per hour. In what direction did the egg roll? So you can put your answers in the chat as quickly as you can. Give you a moment to just type your answers in. Or if you're able to unmute yourself or you want to raise your hand and you can get a chance to say what you think. Oh, I'm seeing rooster can't lay egg. Rooster can lay egg. Is this a question or a statement? I'm not sure if you're asking if the rooster can lay egg or you're saying the rooster can lay egg. But it's good that you pick that up. Where, in which direction would the egg roll though? What's the answer to that? I hear rooster can't lay egg. I'm seeing that, Terrell, Verno, I'm seeing that. Roosters don't lay eggs. Okay, somebody says east. Okay, all right, thank you for your responses. Roosters really don't lay eggs. So if roosters don't lay eggs, then of course, there will not be any egg to be rolling in any direction. All right, thank you for your responses. Now, looking back at this, you think about all the information that is there, because remember, critical thinking is about using the information that is there. And you have to be able to pull out what information is important to answer the question, is relevant to the question. These are some of the things that our children have to be doing when they're doing critical thinking at school. There's a lot of information presented to them, and they need to be able to pick out what is relevant to whatever questions they're being asked or in whatever task they are given. Information in there can be distracting, but if you're thinking critically, you're asking questions. Okay, so somebody had asked, rooster can lay egg? That's a good question to ask, because right away you'd know there will be no egg to roll. All right, so these are some of the things that our children have to be dealing with. Now I have a few more examples for critical thinking. So decision making, and we use the brain teaser for that. That's a part of critical thinking. Analyzing analogies. And those of us who are my age or maybe a little bit older can remember the first aid in English and the junior English revised that had some analogies in them, where you're looking at relationships between things. That's a part of critical thinking, being able to identify the relationships between things and be able to make other decisions or solve problems because you understand the relationships. So here goes. And of course, again, you can put your answers in the chat to any of the items. So if you're putting an answer for number 1, you write 1 and you write what you think the answer is, so we can identify it in the chat. For number 1, go is to went as do is to. Okay, I'm seeing done. I am seeing did. Thank you for those responses. The next thing that you'll be thinking about is, why would I say done? Or why would I say did? Why would you say done? The person who said did, you can put in the post, why is it did? And the person who said done, you can put in the in the chat, why is it done? Okay, looking out for, while we're looking out for that, we can also, those of us who are not responding to this one right away, can consider the number 2. Shopkeeper is to customer as doctor is to. Okay, done. Okay, I'm seeing a response from the person who said done. Okay. Okay, for done, S. Grant, I see you said tense of the sentence, based on the tense of the sentence. So Marcia, what about yours? Did. Okay, Marcia, you said did. Why would you say did? And I see that Miss Alison Black has said dealing with present and past tense. So that's the information that you'd have to know in the background. The answer, correct answer is did. And it's a matter of tense, of course, because done is past participle. And we're looking for the past tense. Simple past tense, because go is to went and went is the past tense of go. Anything that you put for do to correspond with do would have to be past tense, not past participle. Thank you so much for sharing. You see how you have to analyze the relationships to know what the answer is. Now I notice for shopkeeper and customer, shopkeeper is the customer as doctor is to, and I see patient here, and yes, we are correct. Again, you have to look at the relationship in the information that you're given to determine, to analyze and determine what should be the answer to complete the other side of it. And the final one, open is to close as reveal is to. Did we start putting our answers for that one? Okay. And we have hide, and hide is correct along with conceal. Yes, either will do, either will do, because it's the opposite. You're looking at the opposites. And I see that, S. Grant, I can see that. Thank you so much. You've been very good. We're moving on. So this is analogies. And these are some of the things that you can actually expose your children to, whether online, or you can go back to the first aid in English or the junior English revised that you have in your box somewhere for how long. Now here's one with numbers. You're evaluating numbers. All right, and this is typical of things that would be asked at school in math. Find a pair that is similar to the given pair of numbers, 180 to 90. Which one is similar? You can go ahead and put it in the chat. And while you're putting it in the chat, you can also write why. Because you see,
2-1.
critical thinking, yes. I'm seeing B, yes, Marshall. And Miss S. Grant, thank you very much. And B is in fact correct because 90 goes into 180 2 times. Now you realize that for some of these, there has to be background knowledge, which is why the content is important. What teacher is teaching online is important. And the textbooks that they have is important because they will also guide them in the content, what they need to know in order to be able to evaluate an item such as this. And this is a typical item, even at the grade 6 level, between from grade 4 to 6. This is a typical item for them. All right, thank you. So B is correct. What is divisible by what? Yes, and that is what you consider. Finally, now, patterns. Very good in teaching critical thinking. And those of you who are my age and older can remember mental ability in common entrance. We had to buy a whole book that was full of patterns, and we had to respond to the items. This is a typical one. Look at the item. Figure 1, there's a problem there that we need to know what is supposed to be where the question sign is. Figure 2 suggests some answers. So now you have to solve the problem, sift through these answers and select an answer. So you can decide if your answer is 1, 2, or 3. 4 or 5. Okay. It might take you a little time, so you can just put it there. Oh, I see 3 here. And that is in fact correct. And what did you have to do in order to give your answer? I'm very sure that you had to be looking at what happened in the first box, at box A, what happened at box B, what is at C, and therefore what could possibly happen at D. It is not as easy as it looks, as some of us can see. And this is what our children have to be doing. So the more of this that you can get them to be interacting with online, in workbooks, on practice papers, just asking them some questions that can really help to build their critical thinking and allow them to be able to have access to whatever is being taught in other subjects, access it mentally, reason out things and be able to do well. So that's it, I believe. One more slide I think there is with some helpmates, critical thinking helpmates that you should have in that little corner there. We can move to the final slide, please. Right, and well, okay, here we are. Can we all see that? So within that corner, that classroom corner in the house, these are some of the things that we can ensure that we have as far as it depends on us, that the children can manipulate, interact with, complete, so that it can stimulate their thinking. Some of them will require you asking them questions or having discussions with them. All right, one of the things that drive critical thinking is questioning. So the big difference with teachers teaching students to think critically now is how questions are asked, the why questions, the how questions, and so on. Okay, so you see, in all of these that are here, they can be used from the early childhood level to the primary level, even up to the high school level and colleges, because it goes all the way to debates, where you're reasoning critically and using information well to decide how to move on or come up to solve a problem or to present a good response or alternative to whatever is presented to you. All right, so I hope you got all of that. You can take a picture of it if you will, and now we'll be moving on to numeracy.
To numeracy. Thank you, Mrs. Myers. And hello again, everyone. Now, before I even get into the meat of this, and I want you to be very honest now, how do you feel about math? Is it a subject that you like? Do you think it's relevant? Tell me a little, share a little. Just type your responses in the chat, or we can have a few voices at this point. That's quite fine. Oh gosh, Allison says hate it low, but it's very relevant. All right, very honest. Yes, Allison. Let's go. Come on, let's speak. What else? How do you feel about math? It's relevant, but don't like it. Samsung. Antoinette, I hate it. Oh my goodness. Marshall, I love math. If math was a person, would come and give you a kiss now. Because pure bad vibes otherwise. It's very relevant in carrying out our day-to-day activities, says Nikisha. I love it, all right? Marilyn says math is relevant, but not my favorite subject. And Verna says it can be complicated. All right. Thank you for sharing those responses, those very honest responses. Now, when we think about numeracy, it is really the ability to understand numbers and to work with them effectively. All right? Now, math is something that when you really have learned math, certainly we expect that we'll be able to apply it to real life context. Now, before I even go any further, I asked you that question because I want to say from the get-go that though you may not like the subject, keep it to yourself. What do I mean by that? I mean that though we may not enjoy it, if that's the case, we're going to ensure that we do not transfer that dislike of the subject or that fear of the subject to our children. And so as you go through and we look at these activities that you can implement at home, these are simple activities that you will feel comfortable doing, and above all, these are activities that will send a message to your children that guess what? Math is important, math is fun, and I can do it. All right? So again, as I said, no, when you look at numeracy, which is what we're going to be looking at, tips that we can apply to support our children in the curriculum as it relates to numeracy or math. All right? But looking at math, some of the strands or some of the areas that we will look at or that are mentioned as well are numbers, measurement, geometry, algebra, and so on forth. All right? So let's go ahead now. Now, cooking. So certainly, and you know, as we reflected on this topic, a part of what we thought of was what are the ways that we can encourage a love for math and build numeracy skills without having to dig too deeply in an already empty pocket. All right? And so those are things, so these are some of the things that we're going to be looking at. So we can definitely support the curriculum with numeracy while we cook. How? For example, you know, we're making rice and peas and we have, what are the ingredients to rice and peas again? Can somebody just quickly tell us? Don't type it in the chat, just unmute yourself and tell us really quickly. And let's count them together.
Peas and rice.
Coconut milk. And rice.
Coconut milk. Coconut milk.
So those are 3 so far.
Water.
So peas, rice, coconut milk. There's water. 4.
Scallion and thyme.
Scallion and thyme. Oh my goodness. So we're going to what? 6.
Salt.
Salt. We're going to 7.
Pepper.
Pepper, we have gone to 8. For some persons like me, I put ginger in my rice and peas. So that would be butter too. Oh my goodness, butter. So we have gone to 10. All right. And garlic. Garlic, 11. Oh my goodness. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Some persons put sugar.
Sugar, there we go. We're up to what, 12 now? All right. No, these are things that we can do. My goodness, black pepper, 13. All right, thank you. No, these are things that we can do. So when we're in the kitchen now, we call little Johnny or we call Rosie and we say, all right, so we have the ingredients out and we say, count these ingredients for me. All right, it's as simple as that, you know, practicing counting skills, especially important for children at the early childhood level. All right, no, we can also look at measurement. Children can learn that a cup is that 1 cup is the same as 16 tablespoons and it's the same as 250 milliliters. So the same as the measuring cup that we pull out when we're doing our Christmas cake at the end of the year, we're making our banana bread and we want to measure up. These are things that we can use. That little thing that comes on top of the DPH bottle, that little cover. Have you ever noticed that they actually have units of measurements on them? Like the milliliters, like the 5 milliliters and the 10 milliliters. Have you ever noticed that, parents?
Yes, miss.
All right.
Yes, miss.
These things you can use as well so that children get a concept of measuring. And these are things that we have at home. All right. So once we do these things, we'll help them know to connect the very practical real life situations to what Miss is working on or teaching in class. Problem solving. Wonderful.
Okay.
In cooking. So let's say I am making a banana bread. and I go on the internet now and I see this recipe that calls for, that will serve 5 persons. All right. And then I decide that, boy, you know, I want to double this banana bread recipe, or I want to triple it. I don't have to sit down there and do it. Now, certainly I can do it on my own, but this is an excellent opportunity now for me to call my 8-year-old daughter, or to call a 10-year-old son, or to call a little one in high school who's having challenges with math nonetheless, and say, look here, Johnny, I want to double or triple this recipe. Look at the recipe. It calls for 2 eggs. Convert that for me now. How many eggs will I need if I am going to be able to triple my recipe? All right, you're following me so far? Also, we can extend it by saying, what if I want to half the recipe? What can I do? These are creative ways, and these are everyday situations that we have and that we engage with and that we use math. All right? Fractions as well. These are concepts that children are expected to learn, and it's especially dominant at the primary school and high school level, right? When you're looking at fractions, but certainly at the early childhood level, they look at things like sharing and sharing equally. So we're building the foundation even from that stage. So what can we do? Cooking butter. That is a simple one. You know, we send to the shop or we go to the supermarket and we buy a stick of cooking butter. We can have our children practice sharing by showing a half to equal pieces of butter. We can have them demonstrate what a quarter looks like, what a third looks like, just by cutting up the cooking butter that we're going to use to put in the rice and peas anyway, right? So we're not going out of our way. We can also look at equivalences in fractions. So when we talk about equivalences, we're looking at helping them to understand which fractions are equal to which fractions, basically. All right. So to the left, you see a little round shape that represents a pizza. Now this pizza is cut into 8 equal parts, right? So each part is 1/8. So in reality, there are 8 1/8 slices of pizza there. All right. Now let's say I say to my daughter, all right, Colleen, I want you to tell me how many 8s make a quarter. How many 8s make a quarter? Who can figure that out just by looking at this diagram? All right, I see someone typing in the chat. So let's see. All right, 2 8s. So Nikisha says 2 8s make a quarter, and that is exactly true. You see those 2 little black ones? So it takes 2 8s to be equal to a quarter. Wonderful. So these are opportunities that we can have to reinforce math skills, all right, that will support the curriculum and the delivery of the curriculum, and above all, help our children to understand that math is not just something that exists in a book, but it is a very important subject that has real world application. All right. Now let's look at cooking. So we still have cooking. Let me just go through this quickly. So let's say, you know, we always have relatives that visit us, especially at Christmas time. All right. So let's say you have a family member who is coming over and they have 15, I was about to say 15 children, but it's not impossible. Let's say they have 15 children. All right. And you're coming and you know that. So you said to Tommy, there are 4 of us in this family, you know, and 1 pound of rice is usually enough to feed us. How many pounds of rice do I need to get now to make sure that I can feed Janice and her 50 children who are coming? Give him the opportunity to work it out. Say that again.
20 pounds.
20 pounds. So
yeah.
Janice has 15 children, so that's 16 persons that we're looking at, and 1 pound feeds 4 persons. All right.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
All right, so we certainly will need not 20 pounds, not so much, you know, but we're going to need a little bit more than a pound for sure. Probably in about the 5 pound range would be a reasonable range. All right, if you really think about it. Now, let's look at it now. So we can even extend it to asking him to calculate. So for example, now, so let's look at the 20 pounds of rice. All right, so let's say we actually had to buy 20 pounds of rice. And 1 pound of rice costs $55. How much money will I need to spend? So surely you have the power to go and figure that out, you know. But we want to be intentional and intentional and to engage our children in these experiences. So you're going to call Julian. Are you going to say, Julian, work this out for me? All right. Give Julian the opportunity too. When she makes the errors, you're going to gently guide her and tell her to check the answer again. So you say, Julian, boy, this is good, man, because I'm sure Julian would get something correct. If it's even in writing down the 55. All right, so you commend her on what she did right, and then you encourage her now to try again. These are wonderful ways that we can involve them. Let's say we're going places now. No, we have certainly with the COVID pandemic, staying home is one of the safest things that we can do, but we still have to go out on the road sometimes. And it could be something that we do in our home as well. So let's say you're walking on the street and you see a number, perhaps it's a JUTC bus that just passed by and it's a number 20 bus. All right, so you can say, all right, Junie, let's count by twos up from 20. All right, so you and Junie are walking now, so you know that it's 20 we're starting at. So we go 22, 24, 26, 28, we keep going. We can step it up a little bit. We can say, let's count in reverse. All right, let's go backwards, 2 at a time. So we're starting at 20 again. So we reverse and we go 18, and then we go to 16, and we keep going down. Wonderful and important skills for all the children at the primary level. It may be 20 as well. We can say, how many times can we make 20? All right, we can make 20 by saying 10 plus 10. We can make 20 by saying what? All of these things that we can look at. All right, so we want to make sure that we find all of these opportunities to get them engaged. All right, get them engaged. So whether it is that we want to, so just about any number we can look at. All right, just about any number. So whether it is we also want to say, all right, so we can get 20. If we say 100, take away 80, we're still going to get 20. If we say 18 plus 2, we're still going to get 20. So find many creative ways to play around with numbers, get them to manipulate numbers in their heads, and get them to use them in meaningful ways. This is a wonderful way and a fun way to reinforce these important skills. All right? Time, also very essential that children understand time. All right? So you're waiting on a bus, for example, you can time the bus. So we get to the bus stop at 11 o'clock. Let's see how long it's going to take for the bus to come. And you give him the little phone, or you give her the little phone, and you see what that is, that it takes 10 minutes for it to come. You make a note of those things. Let's say you have a particular route that you walk to go to school in the mornings. For all the children, for example, you can know, play a game. So let's say you have 2 or 3 options, or 2 or 3 possible routes to go to school. Say to them, let us try and figure out which route is the shortest. So you take one route on Monday, you take the next one on Tuesday, you take the next one on Wednesday. So on Monday, you time yourself, you know, let the child time, make a note of the time to see how long it takes you to walk this route. Tuesday, you let the child time again. Wednesday, you allow the child to time. And then based on the level of the child as well, you can let the child do some comparisons. So we'll say no, how much longer than route A, for example, is route B or route C, you know, just to mix it up and get them engaged in math. Money as well, we go to the supermarket and we see all those price tags, or we're driving past a gas station and we see the price. Pay attention to these things. Let's say you see an outfit and the outfit is $80. Say to John, I wonder what it would cost if it was 2 times as expensive or 5 times as expensive. Right there now he's practicing multiplication, right? And it's giving him an opportunity again to apply math in a real world context. And you know the amazing thing about it? You know, we are really so pressed for time sometimes as parents. Things that we are going to do within the very same time or the period of time that we have designated to go about our respective tasks. All right, so it's not an addition of time, it is us using time more wisely and more efficiently. Patterns, and Mrs. Myers touched on that, so I'm going to jump ahead of that as well. But these are important as well, helping our children to recognize patterns that exist, whether it is a pattern on tiles, whether it is a patterning that you have odd numbers on one side of the street, on your avenue, and you have even numbers on the other. Practical tips as well now for those who do gardening or for those who do farming, because there are many opportunities as well. So if you don't have the space to farm and all you have is a garden, word speaking, and you have I think it's crown of thorns, they call it, the little red one that many persons have at home, or whatever it is, a croton plant. Get your little tape measure, your inch measure, and send them out there to measure the length. Right? Let's see how tall this is. How much taller than the crown of thorns is the croton plant? You understand? These are interesting things that we can do. If we're looking at those who farm, if you have a big space, I really love the last one as well. So let's say this tree grows 4 to 8 meters tall, all right? But the tree needs full sun. Where is the best place for you to put it? So the child will have to know, go scurry through the bush, if there's bush there, just to find a space that when he or she measures 4 or 8 meters tall and looks around, there are no trees impeding the growth of that plant. These are wonderful opportunities to engage our children in math and help them to learn numeracy-based concepts and content and reinforce content. Area as well. We're looking at, for those who may plant as well, you're looking at a sweet potato patch, or even if you're planting a little lettuce. You know, there's a certain distance that we want to maintain between each plant. Give the child the opportunity too. So you know, at the back of those little seedlings, the little seed packets, it will tell you how close this needs to be or how far away. Pull out the ruler, pull out the tape measure, the inch measure, and have them measure. All right. So certainly, again, as a parents, these are things that you and I can readily do. Probably close our eyes and do in instances. But we want to be intentional, and we want to give our children opportunities to engage. So certainly what this is going to mean is that what usually takes us 15 minutes to do, it may end up taking us about half an hour, you know. But we have to be focused and understand that this is quality time and we're spending it in a way that will reap real rewards at the end of the day. All right? Fraction and ratio as well. We look at it for fertilizer. You know, it says that you need to mix for sometimes, you know, 1 part of a particular chemical or fertilizer to 20 parts water. Let your children practice those things. Really, really important. Jello, a very easy one. A lot of children love Jello. So you know that you want 2 parts water to 1 packet of Jello. These are things that we can do to engage and to get them involved. Absolutely, absolutely important. Same for volume as well, which is very important at the late primary school level as well, when they start talking about volume, and especially at high school when they become even more technical in looking at and measuring volume. To fill that wheelbarrow, and the wheelbarrow holds, say, 610 liters of water, word speaking, and you have a bucket that can carry 20 liters, you can ask your child, how many times will you need to fill this bucket in order to fill that wheelbarrow? These are important and wonderful ways that we can get our children involved and engaged in applying numeracy concept. All right, so I see, I'm going to pause for a second to check the chats. So Sherry says she's not hearing. Sherry, are you still not hearing? Is there anybody else who is not hearing?
I'm hearing right now, miss.
Can you hear me? Or are you hearing right now? Wonderful. Happy
Yes,
that
we're hearing now.
All right, beautiful. All right, so I'm seeing Antoinette is saying, boy, she hopes she'll have sessions like this when the online classes resume. Let's see how that goes. Certainly we'll do our very best to continue to engage. All right. So let's, and I second, okay, I see where she seconds Antoinette's suggestion. So let's move along now. So you see, there are many opportunities for us to teach math in our homes. And for all of those persons, or all of us who may have a little bit of fear or anxiety as it relates to math, look at that. We are using math every day now. And I think, if you really reflect on it, a part of why so many individuals fear math or perhaps struggle with math is not only because of this fear, but some persons don't engage with math so much, because they say, boy, they don't see any real world application. They don't see why they're learning this thing, because it has no relevance to what they're doing. So you and I are given an opportunity to help them to see the relevance, to help them to see that, guess what? You are using math every single day. This is what we're doing. So you're sitting, for example, you're watching cricket with them, let them keep the scores. These are ways that we engage them with math. Now, we have looked thus far at, or we provided thus far some tips on how we can support our children academically. We have also looked at tips geared at how we can provide collaborative support, how we can provide disciplinary support, how we can provide technological support. Now we are going to move on now. We're going to look at psychological support. And this is also very, very important. And we want to target or zoom in on this for a little, because it is so true that after doing as much as we may do all of the things that we mentioned earlier, put the learning centers in place in the home, have the charts, engage with teachers and do all of these things. If it is that our homes, which is now school, is not supportive of our children, then it's almost as if most of those things, if not all, will be in vain. All right? So let's see what we're talking about when we talk about psychological support. Now, children need to be in an environment where they feel safe. Safe to make mistakes, safe to ask questions, safe to accept feedback, and safe to offer ideas. Why do you think these things are so important? Why do you think it's so important to feel that it's okay to make mistakes, or it's okay to ask questions? Do you think it's important? So you can type your responses in the chat, or let me hear some voices. I love to hear the voices.
Hi. Oh, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Who is it speaking now?
This is Judine.
Judine, yes, Judine. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yes, I love when children make mistakes, or they do learn from their mistakes. Yes. And I love when they ask questions too, because it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense when they ask questions. All
yes.
Right. And I'm seeing Marcia saying, thank you very much. I'm seeing Marcia saying that it requires a lot of patience and communication in everyday activities. Oh, but Antoinette also mentioned that it is important because children will. Wonderful. What are some of the reasons you think that would cause a child to be fearful of asking questions, making mistakes, offering ideas, or accepting feedback?
Sometimes we as parents have to know how to ask the children the questions, because sometimes some of the children cannot learn with fear. So for example, me as the parents now, talking every day, get up, start buffar, and I say you learn, or you can't do that, that is a fear. So she have a fear. You understand? So them cannot learn in fear. So we as parents need to just calm, like how we have them at home now, because definitely them not going to school now, so them the home. So we have to just call them because I'm telling my daughter, she cannot learn in fear, because I find out with her, even when she in grade 3, the teacher did call me and say, don't stop, say she cannot learn, and them look at something there, because the teacher say when she at school, it's like she have it on her brain same way and all of that. So me learn say children cannot learn in fear. You understand? And children cannot learn it. Nice neither. So if you as the parents now are going to come and say, you cannot do this or you can't do this, and you start batter the pitney and start talk this over the child. So the child have fear, because me as the parents now come and say, you want this or you can't do that and and blah blah. So you know if you just take the children and say, all right then, you can do it. Just push it in their head. And they feel like when you say that, you just give them the what you call it now? You just give them them come
The
out
confidence.
of fear. Yeah, them come out of fear. Them not have no more fear now, because them hear mommy and daddy say, but that you can do it, man, you can do it. Because I try it with my child. I usually say, you cannot do that and whatever. And when the teacher start talk to me, I realize, say, okay then, me I put fear in her. You understand? So when I find out that now, I'm take her, if she make a mistake, I say, come here, man. You can't do it, man. Remember, you're brilliant. I'm start talk to her. So I'm find out so she get the answer. So children cannot learn in fear. Children cannot learn in fear. You understand? Children have to learn, cannot learn in fear. So we know as a parents know, so okay, then some children learn with music. You understand? You were there, you sing a letter to them and them something that some children learn them way there. But we as parents now come, I will start cuss them, I will start say this, I will start say that. Them fear. Sometimes they have something and they want to come to it, but through them, we are going to rush them. They're afraid to come to it as a parents. So we need to stop that. And because education, we have to look for with children. With education. You understand? So if we as parents now come out and we are bash them and we are this and we are that, them not gonna learn, because them are gonna sit down and say, I'm afraid if I go to mommy, go ask mommy that word here, because mommy are gonna bash me, and mommy are gonna say, look how long you go to school and you don't know that time. We need to just take a look at time, have a look at patience, and work with the kids.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. So in the chat now, so I'm seeing that it improves their confidence and help them to learn. They will be fearful because of us, how we respond to them. The tone of our voice used to drive them into a shell. That's what Antoinette mentioned. Marcia says the type of relationship that they have with the parents. Chloe says they may become fearful when we bash them for their mistakes or make them feel as if their questions are unimportant or silly. S. Grant says nice. So I guess she's appreciating everything that you're saying. Marcia is saying that it will cause them to lack self-confidence. S. Grant says some of us grew up with fear and we impart the same behaviors to our children. And that is so very true. And so the aim of this now, is to not let anybody feel less than themselves, but to give us an opportunity to observe and to give attention to our own personalities, give attention to our own actions, and to give us a chance to start anew, to improve. All right, as we're learning to improve and to make it better. Now I'm going to share a short video with you. And I want you to just pay attention to this for a little bit. All right? Let's hope it will come up very nicely. And I want you to tell me, what are your thoughts on this learning environment? And this is a video that has been making the rounds on social media. Are you all seeing very clearly?
Yes, I am.
Next question. Mark has 6 fish. 3 of the fish drowned. How many fish does Mark have left?
What the answer?
2.
If you have 6 fish and 3 of them drown, how much fish him have left? Go for the belt. Go for the belt.
How many of you have seen or have experienced this happening before? Is it unusual to see these things happening in our Jamaican context?
Yes, miss. That's the same thing I'm saying. Because the child now say, mommy, I go beat him. So him have the book now I read. There's a fear over him now. In fear.
Home environment and school environment are 2 different environments. So at home, children know that, you know what, mommy did this. At school, teacher will not because teacher will encourage you. You know, you'll get
fear now. Sometimes the children don't know it's about true. Them see the belts in our hand. It's like them get fear now. Then start tremble and all of that. So that's really, really.
All right.
Right now, no parents will do that. You understand? Sometimes we have to just call them, tell them, say, yes, you can do it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Just don't bash them. Just tell them, say, yes, you can do it. Read it again. You can do it. Every day I talk. Sometimes you want encouragement, you know. So you say if that teacher never encouraged me that day, and she said to me, Miss, don't call down that child because that child can do our work and support. I may take the teacher,
advice, and you
yeah,
run with it.
Yes, I'm gonna come home and see that the child can learn, but the child cannot learn in fear. You
All
understand?
right. Beautiful. Thank you again for reiterating that. So somebody had their hand up just now, and I think they put it back down. Go right ahead.
Parents calling.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon. Thanks so much. What first we have to do as parents is curtail our environment at home to make it become a school environment. Home and school has two different kind of rules, right? So at home, mommy's strict and rigid with whatever. Don't go to the fridge. Don't do this. Don't do that. Sit here. Don't move. At school, miss, can I go outside? Okay, do it quickly and come back. So with children, they're going to adjust to the home environment instead of a school environment now with online learning. So as parents, we have to kind of put ourselves that, okay, we're both learning, so I'm allowing my child to make a mistake and do this and try to make them as comfortable as possible. And that's how the online thing is going to work, because parents have to support students, students have to support parents, but we have to adjust the environment like you said before. So we have to make the environment comfortable. So like you said before, you know, the charts on the wall, it gave them that sense that, okay, school, right? So if it's a blank space where, you know, we just put a little space, make it up and there's nothing, it's still a home environment. It's not a school environment. So in order to get the children comfortable, allow them to make mistakes and give them that confidence they need, we as parents have to adjust. Don't go with no belt and no rule and conking and picking and doing. Your job is to support. You're not the teacher. You're not the parent. You're the support person at that time when you're supporting. Forget being a parent. Put yourself in a position where you say, okay, right, I'm supporting my child, or this is not my child, and to make it easier, because when it's your child, you want to hit them, you know, like we saw in the video. But if you put it in a prospect where, you know what, I'm helping somebody, child, you're not going to go hit somebody. You know, understand what I'm saying? So first we have to change our concept as a parent that this is not home time, it's school time, and work with that environment to make the children more comfortable and acceptable, because it's hard for them at the minute. It's an adjustment that is new. Because like yesterday program, they were saying tablets was used for game and thing, not for schoolwork. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just that we as parents, we need to forget the ruler, forget the belt, forget all of that, and just support our kids.
That is wonderful. That is something that all stakeholders in the education system should do. Forget the rulers, forget the belts, and support. Excellent, excellent point. Thank you for sharing that. Now, earlier, it was mentioned that, you know, that when we're fearful, it's like we just shut right down. And that is exactly true. When a child is fearful or becomes stressed or feel as if, or become anxious or overly anxious, it really has an impact on the area of the brain that is responsible for learning and memory. And so you find that when children are afraid, and they're in an environment where they feel like, boy, if I make this mistake, just like the little one a while ago, that mommy or daddy is going to come with the belt or send for the belt, then immediately it's almost as if the child put on blinders, and the child's body shifts in a mode now where they are trying not to protect themselves. You know, they're looking, yes, defensive, so they're looking probably in the corner of their eyes, you know, for the belts to come. And so they become, their focus is turned away from learning, and now is directed towards not getting the lick too much, word speaking. All right, they get into this defense mode, and so it makes it easier for them to forget, and it's going to, which definitely means that they're going to have difficulty remembering information. So that little one, it was what, 2 plus whatever the sum was, but that was 2 plus 6. If, I mean, in that setting, I mean, mommy could have probably beat him from now until forever, and tell him that the answer is, let's say 5 or 4, Not a thing, not a process in our going upstairs, you know, because all little man is watching is the bell that is coming. That is where its focus has or is directed. And so we share this. So you will keep this in mind as well as we navigate this process, that stress is an enemy to learning. Let us remember that stress is an enemy to learning. So when a child feels threatened by his or her environment and is afraid of being laughed at or teased or punished, the brain becomes focused on self-protection. And the curiosity and the attention that is needed now for learning, it becomes lost. So it defeats the entire purpose. So all the beautiful charts and the learning aids and the teaching aids that we will have in the environment will almost become invalid in that space and time because of the distress that that child could and would be going through. So stress is an enemy to learning. Now, we certainly are not perfect and we're all learning to navigate this process. So we heard already some strategies that were used or that can be used to help us in those moments when we begin to get impatient and to get angry. Now, I just wanted to spend some time and let's talk together, let's share. What are some things that you have done, or what are some strategies that you think, other strategies that we can implement as parents that will help us during those moments when we feel impatient and we feel to tell the child to go for the belt? How can we deal with that? What are some things that we can do? What are some decisions that we can make? Tell me.
Can you repeat yourself, miss?
All right. So I'm saying that we are not perfect people, right? And so as much as parents sometimes have the best interests of their children at heart, there are moments of weakness when impatience will set in, when parents will get angry, when working with children or helping them to do schoolwork. What are some things that a parent who struggles with impatience could do to manage those times so that they resist the urge to go for the belt or resist the urge to shout at the child?
Well, for me, for my thing now, what I do, I leave the child with the book and make she feel like say, okay then mommy go outside, go probably finish wash or sweep the yard. So when she didn't know, she sit down with the book now. So when me come in back now, cause that now you know, me not really want to put my mind say, all right then, me ask the Christian, you cannot tell me the Christian. All right then, me say, oh long me wait for you to tell me the Christian, tell me the answer. You understand? So me no really want she get fear, you know, and say, mommy, you go beat me or whatever. So me know me not go back outside, go finish what me I do. Me she feel like say everything is all right. Mommy nah go lick me and all of that. So she know coming back now, me say she sit down with the book now and say, mommy, me know the answer, mommy, me know the answer. And then now she will just come and say, mommy, this is the answer. And then she finally get it right. But as I say, children cannot learn in fear. As you said, in stress too, because we are beat them, that cannot make them learn. You understand? So for me, you know, I ask her the question and she now tell me, tell me the question. If you don't tell me, I go, what else do I go do? So me now, me now go beat up my stomach with that now. Me I go just say, you know what? I go outside, go finish do me I do. And by the time me the outside I do me I do, she inside that think to tell me the answer. When mommy come in, you know, I go tell mommy answer, you know. And by the time when me come in, you know, she could have tell me the answer. Guess why she could have tell me the answer? Because me know the over with the belts. Me no care, no, me no ball off her. Me no say, I hope you give me the answer. You understand? So sometimes we have to just, when we ask them something and them no know, just leave them, make them find it by themselves. We no bother cow them down because some people can't learn in getting beat and bad up on them something there. So you know do that now as a parent, go outside, go and finish what you do, and the child sit down in her house and say, all right, when me come in and I must tell her answer, I'm going to find the answer. And when you come in, the child know the answer. Guess why? Because the child say, because I lick, you know, the lick and the belt over the child, you know, make the child afraid to give you the answer, you know. So when you go outside and do what you do and come in back, the child know the answer.
All right, so thank you. So step away from the moment for a while. So you take a break and you go outside just to give the child space to clear the head and to think. Very good. Let's look at some of the responses in the chat, right? So this is exactly what you're doing. Nikisha mentioned now, take a time out. Marcia says, take a break, count to 10. Let someone else deal with the situation if somebody else is available. Certainly, that's a good idea too. If you feel that you're getting heated and you have somebody else can just slip in and deal with the situation, certainly, because we have to all support each other, especially at this time. Use incentives. It says Galaxy Tab, very good, wonderful. Nikisha says, in that time, we remind ourselves of our true purpose. Certainly, our true purpose, which is to support and to be a parent and to be our child's advocate, to be our child's true supporter, right? Karen also agrees with walking outside. Nikisha says, breathe. Antoinette is saying, us parents need to practice good self-control. So certainly speak softly. Trying to be aware of how and what triggers our emotions. Certainly, Nikisha, stop talking. All right, that is something else that was said by Shakina. Wonderful, wonderful comments. Now, let's move along quickly now to our next slide, which is basically most of what you have said. As parents, right, we're going to take a break, deep breathing, stretch, take a walk, listen to some music, watch a funny video, just try to relax ourselves. So separate ourselves, as we're saying, from the situation before you re-engage. Ask somebody else to assist with the homework, just like was mentioned. Brilliant. Sometimes we may have difficulty, or children may have difficulty mastering certain concepts because we as parents are struggling with how to explain it. And sometimes in the very moment of struggling to explain, we ourselves get frustrated too, So the child is frustrated, we are frustrated, and frustration plus frustration, we know what that would equal to, right? So in those moments, you can recognize what you're inadequate with, what you do not know. Find a YouTube video or something that can reinforce what you can teach. If you don't have someone else to send in to assist with it, perhaps you can find a video that can explain or reinforce what you were trying to teach. So let the video do that work for you for that period of time, right? We can use technology to aid us. Certainly we want to continue. We can counsel with our teacher, as was mentioned earlier, child's teacher, and asking our other parents on what is the best way to go about explaining this information so that Johnny will really get it, all right? So our pressure won't go up too much in the process. What is important too for us as parents is that we recognize and accept that our child is a unique individual. He or she has strengths and weaknesses and interests. And so the reality is that one child may be excellent at math and really quick at math, but literacy or reading rather, let me put it by subject here, reading may be a challenge for that child. All right, so we are going to recognize these things and we are going to encourage, praise them for those areas that they're strong in and be patient and kind with them while we help them to master those areas that they're weak in. Remember that learning is a process, which means that it takes time. It's not going to happen over time. Sometimes as parents, we get carried away. We just want to pour the information in and pour the information in and pour the information in. But learning is a process. We need to give our children time to really think about what we're teaching them and to be able to really turn it over in their minds and make sense of it. All right, so it can become a part of them. It's a process. Remember that. It's not an event, it's a process. Work along with your child and be a gentle guide, as somebody was saying earlier. All right, we're not going to be a forceful dictator, so we're going to guide. Do the very best that we can to keep the voice down. All right, our homes, as I always think about it, parents, it should be like a little sanctuary, as much as we can, because this world is a very tough place. Already, if you think about it, your child is in a class and he may make a little mistake, or you may ask Miss a question, and while Miss may answer the question, the little one behind him may laugh and say, boy, you don't see. Or the little one to the side may say, boy, oh, you fool, so. These are things that children have to engage with on the outside. The fear of asking a teacher to repeat what you're saying because you don't want anybody to laugh after you. Now, when they get into our homes, it is such a sad reality. If this also, rings true. You may be fearful at school, but come on, man. When you're at home, it must be an environment that I can comfortably say to mommy that, look here, I don't really understand how to do this division, or I don't understand how to do that multiplication, and know that it will be okay for you to say it. It will be okay for you to make the mistakes and work on it. That is absolutely important and critical. All right, and that is a work, that is a job that we cannot delegate to anybody else. You and I, we have no control of what happens in the classroom, you know, but we can control what happens in our home. And so the aim of everything that we're sharing with you today is to help you to understand that you have control of your home and to give you tips as it relates to those things that you can do at home to make sure that you're supporting the curriculum effectively. Now, the last point here is for you to be an advocate. All right. Now, what do I mean when I say to be an advocate for your child? If you notice, for example, so he's doing online class and Mrs. teaching away. She's teaching her addition sound and Johnny still not really understanding letter A sound. You see these things and you're aware of these things. It is okay to give teacher a little call, you know, and say, Miss Smith, I know that you must have gone over this many times. Well, you know, Johnny's still not getting this. Can you give me some ideas as to how I can do it again? Or can you just find an opportunity to revisit this? These things are important, all right? Sometimes as parents, we do not speak up and speak out when we realize that our children are falling behind. This is critical. I always say to people, school and education, it is not a favor, but it is a business, all right? And parents and children are clients of that business. And so just like if you go to Mr. Chin's shop and Mr. Chin sells his saltfish when not too good, or Mr. Johnson's shop, and you get chicken that is spoiled, you are not going to sit down with the spoiled chicken or sit down with the saltfish that is rotten. You are going to take it back and you're going to fully expect that you're going to be reimbursed or expect that something is going to be done to fix the situation. This is the mindset that we need to have too as it relates to school and our children's schooling. Where there are difficulties, be advocates, all right? We're not sending you to be warmongers, but be advocates. Call up Miss and allow Miss to know. And I'm sure Miss would appreciate this as well, because this is a new experience for her as well. She's not able to go and sit over little Ryan and look at his book to see what he's doing, but you can be that support to help her to keep her on track as well. So I want you to definitely remember those things. And above all, as difficult as things may be at times, as trying as it may be, as you do your best to provide for your child and to support the curriculum, just give yourself a pat on the shoulder and know that you can do it. All right? When you make those mistakes, or we probably get a little agitated, let us recollect ourselves, step away, and then go back. All right? Go back in and know that you are one of the most important persons in your child's life as it relates to them succeeding academically. All right? But we thank you, parents, for joining us. And I want you to remember that you can. Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask who's the 4PA teacher?
Who is the 4PA teacher?
Yes, miss.
Okay, I am not sure. So let me clear this up. So this is a presentation that is being done from the Microcare Center. So the link for this presentation and the invitations, they were sent to different schools. So you would have gotten it through your school's WhatsApp groups. All right, but this is not being provided directly by your school, but it's really being provided by the Microcare Center.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I am going to now turn the time over to Mrs. Myers, who is going to close us out, if you have no more questions.
I have one more question to ask. When online school gonna start?
As far as I'm aware, it should begin on Monday, the 5th of October. All right, but different schools, you will have to contact your child's school to know exactly when they will go about beginning. All right. Okay, as I said, we are routing this presentation from the Microcare Center. All right, and not from the individual schools.
Okay, miss, I understand now. All right.
You're welcome. All right, so while I wait on Mrs. Myers to join us, let me just share these last few.
I am here. I'm here.
Okay, wonderful,
yes,
wonderful.
I am here. And parents, you were amazing. We really appreciate you being here with us. On behalf of the Michael University Care Center, that's who we are. I just want to say, and also on behalf of Mrs. Johnson Grant and myself, we want to thank you so much for being such great participants in this activity, because we really know that this is needed, where we have a bridge between school and home, because home has now become school. We appreciate you sharing, and I hope that you feel more hopeful now than before you came to this workshop. We wish you all the best with your children, and that when you feel like you can't manage the situations, you feel like your patient's wearing thin, you know, that you remember that you did this and we did share this, and as parents together, you have encouraged each other to be able to act in such a way that your children can receive and develop well and benefit from this curriculum, because you are being very supportive in all the ways that we have shared with you today. All right. So thank you so much for coming, and all the best. Please remember to put your
Yes, that is what I wanted to add. Before you leave, guys, we want you to put your names in the chat, so that's your full name, right? If you want, thank you for all the kind comments. All right, so if you would love to have a certificate of attendance, we're going to invite you to put your names in the chat. So for example, and then we want you to put the parish that you're from as well, just our way of taking a poll to see where you're at. So for example, I would say Georgia Johnson Grant, St. Catherine. All right, so I see, right, Shawnette, you started it off well. So Shawnette Grant, Clarendon, wonderful. So just add your names to the chats now for us.
Miss, I don't know nothing about it to add in. I'll make somebody do it for me outside.
All right, let them do it. No problem, no problem. We'll wait on you.
All right. All right, so thanks for being here, and all good wishes for you and your children this school year. But continue to put the names down there, please. And the parish you're from. Oh, I'm seeing Hanover. Has anybody seen Hanover there? Yes, Sherry Murray, Hanover. Good to have you. Good to have been able to spend this time with you.
And remember that you can.
When I used to not miss me and come there.
All right, take your time, take your time. And remember that you can.
Okay.
Every morning I rise, I stare at the sun. I know we
Yeah.
All right, and I see St. James, St. Anne. Very good. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Did I say Clarendon? Clarendon is here. St. Catherine as usual. Kingston and St. Andrew, we're here. Keep them coming. And thank you. Oh, Portland, thank you so much. It was great to have you.
I'll find out that's what me here.
It was nice being here also, and I wish you guys would have this this chat another time. So it's very educational.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
ROXA.
Were you guys able to hear that song just now? Or see that video?
No, yes. But I heard the song.
All right, so I'm going to tell you now, we're just going to end with a bang because we can. So you're going to unmute your microphones and we're going to just have a good time. And when it ends, we're going to leave. So let's go again. So unmute the microphones, all the singers and all the partial singers. All right, so we're going to get it there. Let me find it again real fast while Mrs. Morris is getting what she's getting.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. We're spread far and wide.
Yes, my one
Our
miss.
fellow Jamaican parents are spread far and wide.
We parents needed the help, so thank you.
We're ready for you now, so let's go unmute the microphones and let's just go on a high.
Let's go.
I can.
The sound went off and everybody stopped. We swear not singers.
No.
But we enjoy.
But man, do we know how to have fun? Yes, we know how to have fun. You're wonderful girl.
All right. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We can. Thank you, Marcia. All right, so as soon as you're finished adding your information to the chat, you can feel free to log out. Certainly, we have additional workshops coming up. There will be one that will look at math. On Tuesday, we'll be doing a workshop that will look on helping children thrive during this academic climate. So just go on Eventbrite or on the Instagram page, rather the micro Instagram page or Facebook page, and look for those workshops and feel free to register. All right, we're all in this together, and we at the Microcare Center are excited and happy that we're able to help. And always remember that we are blessed and we can do it.
Do it.
Can do it and we must do it.
Yes, we can.
You have a wonderful day.
Have a lovely weekend, guys.
You too,
Same to you.
Hello? Miss. Let me sit now.
Yes, I'm still here.
I love
Who
her
is this
voice.
having this problem? Come, I'm right. Let me write down.
Miss, what I was saying about the
Judy
book
from
stuff.
St. Mary. Wow. Go again.
What I was saying about the books.
Okay. About the books?
Yes, miss.
Is that directed at me? Oh, I'm not sure if you said anything about books, but I was a little.
Oh, I said something about books in literacy.
Oh, yes, Miss Myers.
In literacy. What is it, Danique? Danique, are you the one speaking to us?
Yes, miss. I was asking,
Danique? Yes, what were you saying now?
I'm asking about the books. What I was saying about the books.
In terms of what?
Me hear like you say something about books. But me not hear good because the 9.
To have for you to I was suggesting that that little space that you carve out in the house for school for your daughter. What's your daughter's name?
Kimara Duar.
Danique, what's her name?
Kimara Duar.
Oh, that's a beautiful name. Tomorrow.
Kimara
okay.
Duar.
Little Miss Duar. Kimara, you said.
Yes, miss.
Please forgive me. Go again.
Kimara.
All right. You remember that you're going to set up that. Okay, you're going to set up that little space within your space. Whether the place is big or not, you have that little space that is school for her. You call that school, and then whenever she has to engage with teacher, you have her in that space. In that space as well, you should have books. Both her school books. What grade is she in?
4. Grade 4.
Oh, wonderful. Her school books and yes, very good. I got that. Her school books, dictionary, any workbook that teacher says you're to get for her, you make sure you have that as well because she will need to write in them to do the activities that teacher will ask her to do at home. Storybooks need to be in that section as well. You have storybooks at home, right, Danny? You have storybooks at home for her as well?
No,
like
miss.
reading books that you can read? No.
No,
But you're okay. So whatever school books she has, textbooks, workbooks, any book that can give her information about what teacher is teaching, good to have in that space. All right. You will need to talk to teacher though to find out what books she will need, so that when teacher teaches her online, she can have the book to work from or to look in to do what needs to be done. All right, Danny. Okay. Am I answering your question?
No, miss. No, miss.
I haven't answered your question.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes.
I love
All
her.
right, Danny. Yes. You realize we're trying to say goodbye, though.
Yeah.
We Jamaicans are not very good at saying goodbye.
Nice speaking to you.
Okay, Danique. Same here. All the best.
Same here. So make sure you have your name in the chat, right? So we will go through and we'll look for those. Danique, were you able to get someone to add your name to the chat?
Yeah, Roxanne Garden. You don't see it.
All right. No, man, if it was added, that's fine. Right. There are so many names, so I'm trying to sift through. But Roxanne Garden. Roxanne Gordon. All right.
Yes, please.
All right, my dear.
Kyle and Kobe, you have spelling. I'm ready. Kyle. Kobe. You got to get your flashcards. We're ready. I'm finished. Come on. The quicker we do this, the quicker we go get the pizza.
That's right.
Oh, gosh, I'm still on.
Yes, and that's a very good example of what we just expressed this calling.
Bribery always
Eric, you're
work, miss.
very
Always
good, Bravo.
It always works. I actually work in session. So these two boys are autistic. So I work with them from since homeschooling. It's not been that bad because I've been doing what I do. I have their little corners. Their attention span is like 0 to 5. They're 10 years old. And but what I do, I try to be proactive in whatever. So today is water day, which is they would have swimming. So they just come back outside. I left them on while I was on with the sprinkler, the sun, their shorts. Like they would go swimming, their goggles and all. So the mess that is here now is crazy. When their parents get home, I will be in a lot of trouble. But hey, bribery works, so I guess I can bribe them to clean up as well. Carl and Kobe.
Good job,
I do appreciate, and all the best. Thank you very much. I do appreciate these sessions. I'm booked in for the 6th and the 7th, the 6th and 9th, and I do booked in for, there's one and the 13th for the this graphia. That's at 9 o'clock though, 7 till 9, yeah, 7 till 9, I think that is. So I've booked in, I've been through and searching because anything helps, you know, because we will not get it 100%, but we can aim for it.
Yes, yes, yes. We do what we can.
Yes, to make it work.
There's much that we can do. We'd be amazed how much we can do.
Yes, it actually is, you know, once we put our hearts into it and, you know, it will work. It work. And I think I told my parents that, you know, just this will probably be something that will happen in the future continually. They probably just get a couple days in school when all of this is done and back to online. So, you know, prepare yourself that this is what it is. And when you accept it for what it is, then it gradually, you know, makes it easier to run. Because acceptance is always the thing, you know. It's accepting that this is what it is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we have to make that sacrifice. You know, I was saying to someone yesterday that we think about food, clothes, and shelter for our kids. But, you know, because people are saying, oh, I have to go to work and I don't have anybody. But we've got to remember that COVID is still here. And we have to get our kids the education that they need to get. So we have to put the work in. Weekends, if your weekends are gone, it's just gone. That's just what it is. But I do appreciate and thank you guys so much for doing this platform for us. As a teacher, trust me, it is hard, but we make it what it is and make it work.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys a lot over at Micah Care.
Thank you so much.
You're
so
welcome.
You have a wonderful day now and all
you
the best.
too, my dear. Thank you so much.
Right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Take care.
Bye-bye. Yes, have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you, and same to you.
Thank you. Bye. Guys, I'm ready.
All right, Carlene. So I have removed everybody who was still lingering in the room, so only micro persons are here now. All right, so I guess we can close out now. Let me stop the recording was stopped already. I'm hoping that it was done. Well, I would expect that it was.
I am actually seeing a flashing light in front of me with recording beside it.
Oh, you're seeing it for you? Okay, it's not showing up for me this time. All right, but I'm sure Shauna would have taken care of that. All right, so Carlene, you take care. Wonderful session.
Yes, you too. Thank you, and great job.
All right, great job too.
Yeah.
I'm tired now. I'm going to go drink some water and just ease myself. All right, so you so take care then. I'm going to talk via the telephone also. All right, so I'm going to leave now. So you keep good.
Me too. Me too.
All right, bye-bye.